Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, Post Office Pub. And we've got a coach's corner, very special one here. 8th grade basketball coach here at Mineral Ridge. And undefeated, 18-0, official, and 14-0 in the conference, Bob Molnar. Congratulations, my friend. What a story this has been. You told me right before we jumped on here, this was a true undefeated season. They said they went kind of undefeated last year. You said, no.
Right.
This is the year. Why is that so important to you to use this as an example?
Well, the girls, they set two goals at the beginning of the season. One was to go truly undefeated in the MBAC, and then win the MBAC championship at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if there's a lot of hurdles that we have to go through to get you to that point. And I said, first off, the out-of-conference games, I said, they're a must, So we started looking at the teams out there and started getting ready for them, started preparing for them, and they accomplished it. So
8th grade is such a challenging year because it's the year right before. I mean, everybody's looking at this transformative year, right? Because a lot of these kids are developing into better athletes or they've peaked. You know what I mean? There's kind of a two-tier system.
That's true.
How do you balance that? How do you continue and maintain the interest? Because it is a transformative year because some of these kids will say, hey, I'm going to judge whether I play in high school based on how 8th grade goes.
Well, I've had these girls since they've been in the 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
We started in junior NBA, and one of the things that we tried to get the girls to do was to go into not only for the yearly basketball that they have, we pushed them to play the AAU.
Okay.
So they're getting that raw, of just that pool of talented players,
and
they're going against better competition all the time, and that brings the fire out of them, to where there's been a couple that it's washed out because they just couldn't take the competitiveness of it, but the girls that you see before you right now, they're the cream of the crop, and they're the ones that want to push, to move up to Amy squad, and
I love it.
Yeah.
For you to be able to see that from 3rd grade up to 8th grade now, there's a lot of games that people look at the AAU and they go, oh, my gosh, like that is more games than practices. How do you balance it? Because sometimes, listen, you've got to be tough coach and you've got to be the coach that is there for them, a shoulder to cry on. How do you balance it when there's such a long year? AAU into this, and then they start again in what, June-ish or sooner than that?
AAU's already started right now.
Oh, so they're right back into it.
They're already in it, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
How do you balance that, being that guy?
Well, one thing is I don't have to coach them at the AAU level because they go through another coaching staff, which is good because now I could sit back and I could really pay attention to the little things that I don't think that they're doing right. And then I could talk to them after those practices and say, hey, look, I'm actually seeing this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not running the practices.
Sure.
So I get a little bit of a better view of what's going on, During the season, though, I'm a disciplinarian, I was 4 years in the Marines, so.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I keep these girls, I'm hard on them.
I love it.
I mean, they don't get away with a lot, but.
For you, this is, you talked about being able to look through a different lens a little bit, in some of these AAU games.
Yep.
Talk to me how is it to still be coach, right? When they come to you and they're asking you for, tips or suggestions or what am I doing wrong or what am I doing right, to be able to be coach and then handing the baton off, right? At this point, right?
Right.
What is that like for you? That's got to be emotional in some aspects.
It is because I've shared the good times with them, and we've had some bad times, and since they've been little girls like that, I always consider myself a father and a mentor before I do as a coach.
Yep.
And that all kind of fills into the same of like you're asking me, how do I balance it? Well, there's sometimes to where I have a girl that's happy one day and then she's a little upset the next day, and I gotta listen and look into her and say, okay, well, what are you really mad about? And usually though it might take a little to get it out of them.
Yeah.
But then once I understand what it is, then we go from there. And we get it on the right path.
You've been coaching since the year 2000.
I have.
Said. Okay.
Yes.
Is it all girls?
I'm
all over the place.
Yeah, I have. I've got 5 kids, so it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you the question:
Yes.
Is it easier to coach girls or boys?
It depends on what age.
Okay. All right.
What age?
Help me out here. Why does it
Um,
depend on the age?
I believe in my heart the girls are easier to coach all around.
They're coachable.
They seem to want to their attention to detail is a lot more focused. And where the boys, they're a little bit, squirrel, and they're just so high strung. Sometimes, you got to put the disciplinarian into them hard to get them to slow down,
Yep.
to educate and learn. The girls, they're pretty. Um, this age level, I like it because now you're starting to see them starting to think about, next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's moving up to the big leagues, and now you could see that they are getting to the point to where they're serious about what they're doing now as an athlete and as a student. So I gotta lean with the girls though.
You
They
could see,
they just seem to this, yeah.
you could
Yeah.
see the fear in their eyes a little bit when I'm asking them, what do you want to accomplish at the next
Sure.
level?
Oh yeah.
We just
Yeah.
want to get better. We know that there's going to be girls
Absolutely.
that are older, which has got to be a terrifying experience.
Hmm.
For you, you've been an advocate for them for so long.
Right.
They're going to be leaning on you a little bit.
Sure.
Have you given Coach Amy any tips on this group that's coming up to help her out?
We've had some conversations about there's a couple girls that I was like they work best this way. Some don't like it that way. And I said, but at the end of the day, you're the captain of the ship. They got to do what you say, and this is this is the way you want your program to go. They got to get used to it and everybody rowing the same way.
So what's next for you? I mean, is this the end of the road for 8th grade basketball? Are you going to
Well,
be dad, or what are you going to do?
It's like my wife said. She goes, "You've been doing this for so long, Bob." She goes, "You won't know what to do with yourself." Now, I already automatically, now that their season is done, I've now moved off to baseball with my son. And then I'm also the president for the Little Rams football
Oh,
organization.
that's awesome. So you got enough on your plate.
And I'm the head coach of the 5th and 6th grade boys. So it's like I go from one season to one. I literally, in a year, I might get 2 weeks off to where it's like nothing whatsoever with sports.
What are those 2 weeks like for you? Are they? Can you relax?
I can't.
I was gonna say you seem like the guy's always thinking about.
I'm always what's my next project? Well, I got to move on. What are we doing? Where am I at?
I'll finish with this. Why is this community so important to you? You're so involved. Why is it so important to you?
The community itself, I just I love it. I grew up in Springfield, and it reminds me a lot of the way Springfield is. It's a small knit community. I work for the school system.
That's awesome.
And I just love it here. I love the people here. A lot of good people, and I just love being around the kids. Just to like I said previous about mentoring and teaching, and I'm not only teaching them sports, but I'm trying to teach them what's going to happen in life after we get out of sports, because sports aren't going to last forever.
No, but they're important lessons to be learned in sports.
Absolutely. So.
Coach Bob Molnar, it's such a pleasure
Thank
meeting
you.
you. Thank
you
you so much.
I appreciate your time.
We'll be back right after this.